Bob Dylan, Kim Kardashian, these are just a couple of the celebrity clients of the lawyer who claims that networking kills. Take a look.
Talking about how they're going to
Mark H. Maxwell is a sought-after entertainment lawyer whose clients include some of the most prominent faces in the industry. He knows what it takes to achieve success in one of the most cutthroat businesses in America. Mark is also a professor at Belmont University and has launched hundreds of young adults into their careers. He says there is a way to find success and a meaningful job. In his book, Networking Kills, Mark puts together a roadmap for others at any stage of their career to find fulfillment and joy in life.
Please welcome to the 700 Club, Mark Maxwell. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Terry. It's so good to be here.
Mark, networking is kind of like the go-to thing in our culture today. Why do you say that it kills? What do you mean?
Well, I'm teaching as a professor at Belmont University in Nashville. I spend a lot of time with college students, and this is a topic that comes up so often. There's so much pressure to, even from the first day of class, to go out and start meeting people for your own expense.
Yes.
And so there's a tremendous amount of pressure. Same thing with young artists. They feel like the only way they can succeed is through their likes and followers and views on social media. And so they end up spending a lot more time focused on that than they do on really creating great work and great songs and great music. And so, yeah, it's something that I think it hurts relationships, it hurts creativity, it actually impacts a lot of different things.
Well, talk a little bit about the negativity of social media. You mentioned in your book John Mayer and how it negatively impacted his career. Talk about that.
Yeah. It was interesting. A few years ago, he was speaking to some young music students, and he basically said he couldn't write songs anymore. He was so focused on social media, he saw his songwriting, the quality of the songs he was writing really plummeted. And so he came to the conclusion that if you're spending a lot of time focused on that, you cannot create good and lasting art because great ideas take time to gather. And if you're focused on other things besides creating those great things, then there's a real impact.
Yeah, I loved your comment in the book that great ideas take time. You know, it sounds like they have to percolate a little bit, you know. So if networking kills, and if people, I think everybody wants to be creative and have good ideas and be successful in what they do, what's the alternative? What's the substitute?
Well, Jesus taught us the alternative. He basically said, if you want to be great, if you want to become a leader, it's about serving. And so that's really where I think the concept is at odds. Networking is about self. It's about selfishness. It's about taking and using.
Using someone else for your own.
Serving is about loving and giving generously and sacrifice. And I think Jesus' model is the truth. And that's the way you really make a difference in the world. That's the way you really contribute to society. And that's really the way you love others. And part of it's and when it comes back to creativity, that's the identity of our Creator. It's within us, is to give and to love. Yeah.
Here you were, a really successful attorney and executive in the music industry. Well, you weren't an attorney then, you were an executive in the music industry, and you were managing some really big people. And then God comes along and speaks something strange to you. What did he tell you? He
told me to leave my career and go to law school. And so he ultimately led me here to Regent University here in Virginia Beach, which was a huge step of faith for me. I felt too old, I felt underqualified, and it was a powerful step. People in the industry thought I'd lost my mind at that point, and so coming here was one of the richest experiences I could have ever experienced.
You know, one of the things I enjoyed in reading your book was your willingness to share the struggles of following the path, the struggles of serving people, the struggles of standing strong for what it is you believe and what's going on in your own heart and life in the world, and the struggle of following a directive from God. You said that for the 3 years that you were here, that every day was a struggle.
Definitely. Definitely. It was relying on Him, and because it was so far beyond me. It's like my pastor back home always says, if you're not in over your head, you're probably not fully in God's will. And so I was way in over my head. But it was great because and then when I came back, to Nashville, back to the industry, it was a real story and a real testimony to his faithfulness, because it was beyond me. And then God used it as my career began to unfold as an entertainment attorney.
Yeah. So you get this law degree and you go back, and how do you become a professor after this?
Well, yeah, it was interesting. I was down in the area where Belmont is, and it was really a calling, and I just felt like the Lord said, you're supposed to be on that campus. And I've been there now for 8 years in the evenings teaching as an adjunct, and it's been one of the greatest joys of my life. I love pouring into students. I love mentoring them. I invite my family into that process. And there's something about undergraduate students, they are all coming to Nashville now, there's a huge population, and being able to get involved in their lives, and with caring just a little bit, you get such great influence, and you can really help shape their future.
And so many of them want to go into the very business that you have managed careers in. To be able to speak a word about the value of servanthood and trusting God to open doors for you is huge in their lives. What's the takeaway for everybody from your book?
I think the takeaway is that serving is the key. It's the key to everything in life. That's really where we find success. That's where we find purpose. That's where we deal with our own fears when we're focused on others. Fear is a race. That's where we find provision. As we sow into other people's lives, God sows back into us. If we continue to walk through life looking out for others as opposed to ourselves, all our needs are met. God's promised that for us, and I think we have to live that way. And that's really how we change the world. You know, when we're focused on one person at a time, truly caring for them, giving our lives away, giving our time away, giving our heart away, we can really make a difference that's going to change the world.
The thing that jumps out at me from your book also is your willingness to have your antenna up and your ears open to hear what God is speaking to you in the midst of a plan that you were following that wasn't the next step.
Yes, yes.
It matters, and He's available.
It really does. I think He has specific assignments for all of us, and it's so key to spend the kind of time we need to hearing His voice, learning to really hear His voice, not only in the moment, but for those big decisions in life. I think when we find out what God's dreams are for us, they're always bigger than our dreams, our own dreams. They're always bigger, and that's the way to live. And our dreams, we think they're big, but they're small in the eyes of what He has planned for us.
Absolutely. He's got eternity in the wings. Thank you so much. It's great to have you here. I want to mention that your book is called Networking Kills. It's available as an ebook. Lots of convenience there. For more information, go to cbn.com. And to hear more from Mark, check out our Facebook page. Just go to facebook.com/700 Club. He has a lot to say that's worth listening to.